So, and I said I was done, but I figured I'll do another video. Today we're gonna go fly. Taking Cessna 172. This one has autopilot. I don't know if the autopilot works. I don't usually use autopilot anyways. From Portland to Seattle. Hang out in Seattle for a little bit, get late lunch, early dinner, and then fly back. So this is the part where I'm flying over Auburn, just south of Seattle, and I'm supposed to land in Boeing Field. I've already been talking to air traffic control, and the next frequency is Boeing Field. Surprise. I'm in Seattle, not at Boeing Field. I'll tell you about that later. We actually landed at a different airport, but we made it anyways. We're going to the city a little bit, hang out, and then head home. For the first time ever since I've been flying, the tower told me I couldn't land at that airport. They didn't really give me a reason. They gave me two options of which way I could go, and then they told me to change the frequency. So what I ended up doing was changing my frequency to another airport that was already closer to me and talked to their tower, and I just landed there. I thought that was the best thing to do to be safe. And then we went and had lunch in Seattle and toured around, but I didn't record much because I was still a little bummed out and stressed out over the situation I was put in. After lunch and a little sightseeing, hopped back in the plane and headed home. With the dogs. They're all over the place. Got one here. Got a big one here. We made it home safe. I didn't record everything because it's nighttime and you got to pay attention. And Okay, let's have a quick little recap of the flights that day. To start, so we took off much later than I wanted to take off. So as soon as I took off, the tower told me, hey, turn left downwind, which is what I did. So you see here, I made kind of like a little heart shape. This was air traffic control basically pushing me south away from the airport so another airplane could go ahead of me because they had a medevac flight. And I understand that, but it cost me a good solid 20 minutes before I could start heading north like I'm doing right now. And then from there on, the flight was perfectly smooth. Beautiful scenery, clear skies. We could see the mountains everywhere that you guys saw. Not a single issue. So shortly after passing Mount Rainier here on the right, I start my descent and I start getting lower so I don't get into the airspace of the jets going into the international airport. Air traffic control told me to stay with them, so I did. And then this is when they transferred me to the tower, and the tower said I couldn't land. Even though the airplane I was flying wasn't that fast, I had to make a quick decision and pick another airport. So I switched frequencies really quickly, and the Renton Airport, where they make the Boeing 737, was open, and their tower controller was very nice and friendly. And they said, yes, you can land here, and there's an FBO here. So that's exactly what I did. I landed at that airport. After lunch and a little sightseeing, hopped back in the plane and headed home. So I was late arriving into Seattle, and because I was late arriving to Seattle, that meant I was gonna leave Seattle late. So I was gonna leave in the daytime, but that meant I would have arrived at night. And one of the problems with that is you have to be current to fly at night. And I was out of currency. Doesn't mean I'm not qualified, it just means I'm not current. So I needed to go take off and land 3 full times to then be requalified for night landing, and then I could do a night flight. So that's exactly what I did here. So the first thing I did was take off and land 3 times. Now, I'm not familiar with this airport, so the first landing, I stopped and I went a little further, and then I just taxied back because even though I knew by the numbers the runway was long enough, I wasn't comfortable with it. The second time I land, you can see I landed right on the runway, came to a full stop, and then I still had plenty of runway to take off again. So then that was my second one. Then the third one was a full stop, and the only reason I taxied off the runway and back to the end to take off again was I wanted to put in another formal flight plan to head south and make sure I had air traffic control talking to me as soon as I left the airspace of this airport. So I made the same turns as I was doing earlier, but this time I just continued south. And so you can see the Puget Sound on my right side, and then we just had a nice, pleasant ride all the way back to Hillsborough. The ironic thing was there was a lot of nighttime arrivals into the Seattle International Airport, so air traffic control kept me low, which was pretty cool, and I wish I would have got that on video because you could see the lights from all the airplanes above you and how they perfectly made lines going into the airport. And if I would have recorded that and put that in time lapse, it would have looked amazing. But I was still a little bit stressed out. Any professional pilot will tell you deviations are not good. That's how you get in trouble. Fortunately, we did not get in trouble, and we had a good flight, and everything went according to my contingency plan, not my original plan, but it was smooth. But deviations are never a good thing, so you try to avoid them as much as possible. In this case, I didn't have much of a choice, so I had to make another plan and get current on nights and then do a night flight that I didn't plan on doing. One thing I learned about this experience was to be a little bit better prepared in the future and stay current even with night landings, even if you don't plan on landing at night, because things like this happen.